Welcome back to In Depth with Academia. I'm Richard Price, founder and CEO of Academia.edu, and today, as your host and, well, your only voice on this podcast, I'm really excited to dive into a fascinating paper, one that offers both literary adventure and, honestly, a dose of cross-cultural curiosity. The paper is titled Pan Tadeusz, Through English Eyes, 10 Years of Reading, Reflection and Rediscovery by Roland Keates. And as always, I want to remind everyone that I'm here to present and explore what this paper shares. I'm not endorsing it. I'm just your academic tour guide, helping you see what researchers are discovering and often wrestling with. So let's set the stage. Imagine yourself maybe wandering through a quiet museum and out of nowhere, you're drawn to a display for Adam Mickiewicz, a Polish poet living in exile, who in 1834 produces this poem that becomes the Polish national epic. That's exactly how Keats, an Englishman, stumbled into a relationship, a real decade-long obsession almost, with Pan Tadeusz, which leads to the core question of his paper. What happens when you, as an English speaker with an English literary upbringing, try to read and really feel a work so deeply rooted in Polish history, land and longing? I mean, can you cross that cultural bridge? What do you lose? Maybe, what do you gain? That's a huge question for anyone interested in literature as a connector between cultures, not just for poetry nerds. Keates is really asking, is Pan Tadeusz just a Polish classic, or is there something European about it that's bigger than national boundaries? And geez, also, what does it mean for you as a reader, being invited into someone else's national memory? Keates doesn't just stop at reading the poem, he goes all in. We're talking 10 years, multiple rereads, filming in Poland, museum trips, even a documentary in progress. And throughout, he explores not only the literary style, but his own journey of understanding. Let's dig into his method. He draws literary comparisons with the English Romantics, Wordsworth, Byron, Walter Scott. Then he stacks that context against Poland's own Napoleonic era, a time when Poland and Britain were actually on opposite sides. Imagine being Keats, noticing that your own team is the villain, sort of, for the characters of this piece. Wild, right? But the real meat, at least to me, is in how Keats describes landscape and nostalgia. Through English eyes, Pan Tadeusz's lush Lithuanian countryside, every meadow, every shimmer of light, echoes the classic English pastoral tradition. I mean, Wordsworth and Hardy come to mind quickly. Nature as both memory and almost a kind of moral GPS. Mickiewicz, writing as an exile, fills his forests with longing, and Keats, reading in Derbyshire, somehow finds that the English landscape talks back. Honestly, I love that, literature as this live wire between places, connecting not just writer and reader, but countries and maybe eras too. Now let's shift to social stuff a bit. Keats points out that Mickiewicz's rendering of the Polish szlachta, the gentry, isn't just cozy manor house fiction like Austen or Trollope, but rather a community whose rituals are also fighting to keep national culture alive during partition. Hospitality and honour, those aren't just social niceties, but like shields against erasure. And that's super rare in English lit, where individualism often trumps collective identity. Honestly, there's a fascinating paradox here. Keats notes that the partitions of Poland, which literally erased the country from maps, are not something British readers would instinctively relate to. And yet, Mickiewicz turns his poem into an act of cultural resistance. His hope in Napoleon, knowing in hindsight that it was a doomed hope, only emphasizes the work's depth and, well, its persistent ache. Have you ever tried reading poetry in translation? Keats spends time reflecting on the challenge of translating Polish Alexandrines, the poem's original 13-syllable lines. He says, sure, much subtlety is lost, but the process of translation itself becomes a kind of bridge. I really like that image. As a very brief digression, did you know that some ancient Greek poetry doesn't rhyme at all? Totally different music there, right? Anyway, the point is translation isn't just about language, but about generosity, reaching across gulfs. Back to Keats. He ultimately finds that, over 10 years, Pan Tadeusz has taught him to read more slowly, to value memory, and to view literature as a kind of vessel for identity. For English readers, it reveals a gap. England has no true national epic that mingles history and intimacy at such scale. It's a little bittersweet. So, to wrap us up, Keats argues that Pan Tadeusz is both totally, uniquely Polish and somehow universally moving for those willing to meet it halfway.
Exile, nostalgia, hope. These aren't just national issues, they're human ones. Thank you for joining me today on In Depth with Academia. Remember, these academic insights aren't gospel. They're invitations to ponder and explore.
What does crossing cultures in the literature mean for your own journey? Well, you get to decide. I'll be here, always curious and always neutral, eager to bring you the next spark from the world of research. Until next time, keep reading, keep reflecting, and honestly, enjoy the questions more than the answers.